Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2903 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. The title for today's Wisdom Trek is Echoes from the Cave, Finding Our Sovereign Refuge in Utter Isolation. On our last trek together, as we navigated through the profound protective boundaries of Psalm 141, we listened as David begged the Lord to set a vigilant watchman over his mouth and to guard the door of his lips. He was deeply concerned about his internal response to external pressures, praying that he would not be lured into testing the wicked delicacies of spiritual compromise. Today, we step directly onto a contiguous trail as we enter Psalm 142, verses 1 through 7. This psalm serves as an incredibly raw, beautiful companion piece to our previous studies. As we look closely at the landscape of this new passage, we notice that David has been plunged into an even more acute, claustrophobic crisis. The historical background of this psalm describes it as a maskil, a psalm of deep instruction written when David was hiding deep inside a cave. Whether it was the damp, pitch-black cavern of Adullam or the desolate crags of En-gedi, David was physically trapped, hunted like an animal by the relentless armies of King Saul. The internal walls of his soul were closing in, matching the cold, rocky boundaries of his physical hiding place. Yet, even in this profound state of darkness, abandonment, and severe isolation, David does not despair. Instead, he transforms his damp subterranean prison into a magnificent anteroom of the heavenly palace, casting his eyes upward toward the sovereign counsel of the Most High God. The first segment is Pouring Out the Cosmic Complaint, the Heavenly Deposition. Let us open our ears to the raw, uncut emotion of this prayer, as recorded in the New Living Translation, grouping together the urgent thoughts found in verse 1 and verse 2. I cry out to the Lord. I plead for the Lord's mercy. I pour out my complaints before him and tell him all my troubles. In this opening movement, David wastes absolutely no time masking his desperation under a veneer of false stoicism. He cries out, I cry out to the Lord. I plead for the Lord's mercy. I pour out my complaints before him and tell him all my troubles. The vocabulary here is highly intense, painting a picture of an overflowing vessel that can no longer contain the pressure of its contents. To fully appreciate the structural depth of these verses, we must view them through the fascinating lens of the ancient Israelite divine council worldview. In the ancient Near East, when an individual suffered severe injustice, they did not merely vent their frustrations into the void. They brought a formal, legal petition before the king or the Supreme Assembly. The Hebrew word for complaint used here is siyach, which carries a strong legal connotation. It refers to filing an official lawsuit or a formal legal deposition. David is bypassing all localized, corrupt earthly courts, which have completely failed him and are actively hunting him down, and is taking his legal case directly to the ultimate Supreme Court of the universe. By pouring out his troubles directly before Yahweh, David is demonstrating an advanced level of spiritual intimacy. He knows that the Creator of the universe, sitting enthroned among his holy heavenly council, is not indifferent to human suffering. David does not sanitize his prayers. He brings his raw, unfiltered agony into the courtroom of the sovereign king, completely confident that his voice is being heard by the highest authority in existence. The second segment is Overwhelmed and Utterly Alone, Traps in the Dark. The narrative of David's subterranean struggle deepens as he links his overwhelming internal state with the reality of his external traps, combining the logical thoughts found in verse 3 and verse 4. When I am overwhelmed, you alone know the way I should turn. Wherever I go, my enemies have hidden a trap for me. I look for someone to come and help me, but no one seems to know me. No one cares what happens to me. David completely uncovers his soul, admitting, when I am overwhelmed, you alone know the way I should turn. Wherever I go, my enemies have hidden a trap for me. I look for someone to come and help me, but no one seems to know me. No one cares what happens to me. This section beautifully illustrates the ultimate dark night of the soul. In the original language, the phrase, when I am overwhelmed, literally means that his spirit is fainting, wrapped in a suffocating shroud of profound weakness and anxiety. But notice the immediate, brilliant flash of cosmic confidence that pierces through the darkness. You alone know the way I should turn. This thought beautifully ties right back to the grand, transcendent themes of Psalm 139, where we discovered that God completely maps out our paths and knows our sitting down and our rising up. Even when David cannot see 2 feet ahead of him in the pitch-black cave, the omniscient King of Heaven already sees the entire exit path fully illuminated. David then reports the terrifying reality of his surroundings, explaining that everywhere he goes, his enemies have hidden a trap for him. This directly echoes the toxic, predatory environments we encountered in Psalm 140 and 141. His human adversaries, acting under the corrupting influence of dark, rebellious spiritual principalities, have laid hidden nets to trip his steps. To make matters worse, David looks around for human support and finds absolutely nothing, crying out that no one knows him and no one cares what happens to him. He feels utterly abandoned, forgotten by his friends, isolated from his community, and discarded by society. Every earthly refuge has completely vanished, leaving him entirely exposed in the dark. The third segment is the ultimate inheritance, aligning with the true portion. Finding himself completely stripped of human protection and earthly security, David makes a monumental, paradigm-shifting pivot in his spirit, anchoring his thoughts securely in the sovereign character of God as recorded in verse 5 and verse 6. Then I pray to you, O Lord. I say, you are my place of refuge. You are all I really want in life. Hear my cry, for I am very low. Rescue me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. When every earthly door is violently slammed shut, the vertical door to heaven remains wide open. David cries out, then I pray to you, O Lord. I say, you are my place of refuge. You are all I really want in life. Hear my cry, for I am very low. Rescue me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Think deeply about the sheer theological weight of that statement. In the ancient Israelite worldview, the various nations of the world were assigned to lesser spiritual beings, but Israel was Yahweh's unique possession, and Yahweh was a unique portion or inheritance of his people. When David declares, you are all I really want in life, which can be translated as, you are my portion in the land of the living, he is making a profound cosmic allegiance. He is stating that even if King Saul strips away his earthly inheritance, his royal status, his home, his reputation, and his family, he still possesses the ultimate, indestructible treasure because he has Yahweh. He then presents his urgent petition to the heavenly throne, pleading for rescue because he has been brought very low and his persecutors are far too strong for him. He openly confesses his human limitations. He recognizes that Saul's royal army and the dark spiritual forces fueling their irrational hatred are far too powerful for his small band of men to defeat on their own. He does not rely on human military tactics or political manipulation. He throws himself entirely upon the supernatural, intervening strength of the sovereign King of the cosmos. The fourth segment is, From the Dungeon to the Congregation, the Final Verdict. Let us now examine the final, climactic verse of this beautiful prayer, where David looks completely past his current imprisonment and envisions a glorious day of public vindication in verse 7. Bring me out of prison so I can thank you. The righteous will crowd around me because you are good to me. David closes his cosmic legal brief with a powerful plea for complete liberation, praying, Bring me out of prison so I can thank you. The righteous will crowd around me because you are good to me. What an incredible, triumphant resolution to a psalm that began with the suffocating darkness of a hidden cave. While David was not locked inside a literal city dungeon with iron bars, his damp, cold cave had become a psychological and physical prison of isolation, restriction, and fear. But notice his ultimate motivation for rescue. He does not just want comfort, personal safety, or luxury. He wants his freedom so that he can bring public, cosmic praise to the name of Yahweh. He eagerly anticipates the glorious result of his divine deliverance, declaring that the righteous will crowd around him because of God's goodness. In the ancient world, when the supreme king vindicated a falsely accused servant, it sent a shockwave of intense joy through the entire loyal community. The righteous would gather in a massive celebration to honor the king's unshakable justice. In the cosmic realm, This represents the ultimate triumph of Yahweh's divine order over the forces of chaos, darkness, and rebellion. David knows with absolute certainty that his current isolation is only a temporary chapter in a much larger, grander story. The dark cave will not become his forgotten tomb. It will be the very birthplace of a magnificent testimony of divine goodness that will encourage the hearts of weary trekkers for generations to come. If you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, leave a living legacy. Each day, I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. Join me next time for more daily wisdom.